quickly, I'm also going to talk you through how to do worded equation problems. In this case, we have something written and we have to be able to write the equation based on the written text. So there's two things we should be doing when we're trying to figure out how to write the equation from a written text. First, we're going to try to figure out what written text refers to the pronumerals. So when we read something, what is a pronumeral? And as a hint, usually if we're talking about a number or the number, so a number or the number, so the number part usually refers to some kind of pronumeral. We can call it x, something that we're trying to find, it's the unknown. So that number is usually the unknown, which is our pronumeral, the thing that we're trying to figure out. Now also we're trying to figure out between the numbers and the pronumerals what kind of signs there will be. So is there a plus, a minus, a times, or divided by between our numbers in our written text. So I'll go for the example right here. So it says the sum of a number and 13 equals to 20. What is a number? Alright, so again, remember, anything that usually refers to, if it says a number, this is what we don't know. We usually just call it x, so this would be x. That's the first thing. We got to figure out which one is our pronumeral. In this case, it says a number is, so the number, this is our pronumeral right here. Second part is we're trying to figure out what signs will be in between different numbers and pronumerals. And it tells you here, the sum, so sum would refer to plus, so we're adding two things together. So it says the sum of a pronumeral and 13 equals to 20. What is a number? So all you have to do for this one is you write, so we have x, and then we know we're adding something, so x plus, and what we add, so it says a number, so that's x, and 13, so x plus 13, and that means equals, obviously that's an equal sign right here, equals to 20, so x plus 13 equals 20. So that's your written equation from your text. Now what you have to do is in this case, you've got to figure out what the number is, so you've got to figure out what x is. So you would just do it as you would always do, you would do the opposite. So x plus 13 equals 20, we do minus 13 from both sides to remove the plus 13, so that crosses out. And then we have left x equals 20 minus 13, which would be 7. So we know our number is 7 because x equals 7. Right? Now another example here would be doubling a number and adding 5 equals to 20. What is the number? Right, remember, if it says a number or the number, this would usually refer to our pronumeral, so the thing we're trying to find out. So we can call that, again, we can call it x. Now we're trying to find out what kind of signs, operations are between those different numbers and pronumerals. So it says doubling a number. So it means doubling refers to times. And usually, more specifically, it refers to times 2. So we're doubling x. So it means x times 2. And remember, the way we can write x times 2 is just 2x. So we're doubling a number. X is our number. All we have to write is 2x because we can't see it, but there's a times in between the 2 and the x. So doubling number and adding 5. So adding refers to plus. So we can just write plus 5 equals 25. So equals 25. So that's the whole thing written. So it's 2x plus 5 equals 25. And then we're trying to find out what the number is. We're trying to find out what x is. So remember, two-step equation. What we're going to do first is we're going to remove the plus here. So we do opposite operation, which is in this case minus. So minus 5 from both sides. This crosses out. So what do we have left on the left-hand side? That would be 2 times x, or just 2x. I'll just write this over here, so the whole thing goes over here. So that would be just 2x left on the left-hand side, because 5 and 5 cancel out. And then 25 minus 5 would be 20. And the last step is just we divide both sides, because there's times in between the 2 and the x. We do the opposite operation, so we're dividing both sides by that number, which is 2. And then we find out that this cancels out, so x equals to 20 divided by 2, which is 10. So that's your answer for that. Right, so first write the worded equation from your text and then solve it afterwards. Now here I'm going to show you how to remove or how to solve an equation if we have pronumerals on both sides. Right, so if you look at this one, 4b minus 2 equals 2b plus 2. We've got 4b on this side, on the left-hand side, and 2b on the right-hand side. And at the end, we want to have just b on one side, not on both sides. So we have to go through a few different steps to make sure we can solve pronumerals on both side kind of equations. Now the steps are, first, move the numbers, so only numbers which can be added or subtracted like we always do. So first it's the plus or minus that are just numbers. Then we add or subtract the pronumerals. So after the numbers, we add or subtract the pronumerals. So that's the letters. In this case, we talked about the example just now would have been the pronumeral b. We're trying to move those around. And once we've done that, we will then multiply or divide by numbers. So it's really very similar as always. We first add, subtract, and then last multiply, divide. Except for in between, we will also be moving the pronumerals as well. So what I mean by this is if that's our example right here, 4b minus 2 equals 2b plus 2. So first things first, we'll have got minus 2 here. So we'll do the opposite, which to remove it. So that's plus 2. That's just your standard thing we've been doing throughout. So that crosses out. So we've got left on this side, left-hand side, we've got left 4b. And on the right-hand side, we've left 2b, and then plus 2 plus 2 would be plus 4. Now remember what we do afterwards. So once we've plus or minus the numbers, we plus or minus the pronumerals, and we try to keep it positive. But I'll just show you what that looks like. In this case, we can move the minus. We can minus 2b from both sides. So 2b minus 2b and 4b minus 2b. This will cancel out. So 2b minus 2b is gone. And what we have left on the left-hand side, we have left 4b minus 2b, which is just going to be 2b, right? And then on the right-hand side, we've left 4. And remember, there is a times between the 2 and the b. So times, don't see it as a times. So once we've done this, as per usual, we'll remove the times by dividing both sides, because the opposite of times is divided by. So we can divide both sides by 2. And that cancels this out. And then we have left b equals 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And that's the solution right here. So b equals 2. Now I'll try another example. It works the same way. First we do plus or minus. So if this is 5x minus 3 equals 2x plus 9. First we're removing the numbers, and the ones we can add or subtract. So this would be an example right here. The minus 3. Do the opposite, which is plus 3. Both sides. That cancels this out. Then we have left 5 on the left-hand side. We've left 5x, and on the right-hand side we've left 2x plus 9 and 3 together make 12, so plus 12. Remember, then we remove the pronumerals. In this case, we can remove the 2x by minusing both sides by 2x. So then we have left, this cancels out. 2x minus 2x is 0. So we've left 5x minus 2x, which is 3x. And what's left on the right hand side is just 12, right? Because that cancels out. And remember, there's a times in between the 3 and the x. So we'll do the opposite operation. We'll do divide both sides by that number, which is 3. That crosses out. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we're left on the left hand side with x. And on the right hand side with 12 divided by 3, which is 4, and that's the solution, x equals to 4. That's just an extra step in the middle, that step right here, but the rest of it is just like we've always been doing. Now in this example, I'm going to show you how to remove the grouping symbols and then how to solve an equation. So if we have, for example, this is just removing grouping symbols. If you have 3 brackets open, 4b minus 3 brackets closed, what we have to do is we have to do the first term outside times first term inside, so 3 times 4b. And then the first term outside times the second term inside, which is 3 times minus 3. So what we get is 3 times 4b would be 12b. And so that's the first, those two times together. And then 3 times minus 3 would be minus 9. So that's an example of how we can solve a bracket or remove a bracket. So I'll show you now how to remove a bracket and then solve an equation. An example would be this one right here. So remember, the first term times outside times the first term inside. So 2 times b those two, and then afterwards we do 2 times plus 3. So 2 times b is just 2b, and then 2 times 3 is plus 6, and then that would equal to 10. And from there you can just do the normal. So always we remove the plus 6 first, so opposite of it, which is minus 6. And then that cancels out. And then we have left 2b equals 10 minus 6, which is 4. And then remember we do the opposite operation here, so that's a times, so we'll do the divided by. And we divide by both by that number, which is 2. That cancels out. And then we have left b equals 4 divided by 2, which is 2, and that's your solution, b equals 2. I'll show you another example. So here we do 4 times this number, and then 4 times minus 2 afterwards. So 4 times 2b, and then 4 times minus 2. 4 times 2b is 8b, so that would be 8b, and 4 times minus 2 would be minus 8. So that's 4 times minus 2 is minus 8, and that would equal to what it says here, which is 22. Alright, so once you've done that, your normal steps, which would be plusing 8 from both sides, and that will cross out, and that would be 8b left on this side equals 22 plus 8 is 30 left on this side. And then what we can do, again, opposite sign, there's a times here, so we divide both sides by 8. 8 divided by 8 crosses out. Now we're left with b equals 30 divided by 8. 30 divided by 8 is 3, and we have a remainder of 6, so that's 6 over 8. Right? That was just normal procedure. So once you've removed the brackets, you can solve the equation.